Everyone, in this video I'm going to make a short video about how you connect the audio from one desktop PC to another PC. Basically, one of the scenario for this is you have a main PC for gaming or for simulations, and it's very limited on CPU bandwidth, for example, or you don't want to rob the CPU capacity to do the recording and streaming, so you optimize the whole CPU power to run your simulation or games, for example. And you want the other PC, you have another PC lower end spec, for example, you can do for streaming and recording separately. It can be desktop, it can be laptop. Usually if you use laptop with battery, I think should be okay, but if you use another desktop, the problem is a very bad connection if you use simple audio connection. So it will be creating a lot of ground loops and other electromagnetic noises from switches, from the power supplies, everything. So let's discuss that quickly. So in simple terms, you have a main PC here and your lower end desktop PC on the other hand. You could simply connect the audio out or from the headphones port, for example, and then directly to your line in if there's a line in, or to the microphone. This is not suggested because there's a different impedance, so you have to put some resistors and capacitor first to ensure that the impedance is matching from the headphone output, usually 32 ohms to this is quite high, around 1000 ohm, for example. So it doesn't, it's going to overload the driver in the microphone if you do that. But let's say you have the line in also using a cable, stereo cable, 3.5 millimeters. uh yeah, that's the basic connections. And also if you have the monitor or TV, if you send the signal through HDMI, it carries an audio also, stereo audio, and then you can connect from the TV output, audio output, or monitor output. Like there are some monitors provide headphone outputs, and you can also to your line in, depending on which one is the closest. Using a stereo 3.5 millimeter cables also, or some what do you call it, adapter from RCA to input to 3.5 millimeters connectors. So whatever you do, it is connecting the audio and the grounds, right? So what happened is that the power from each of this PC creating another grounds. So it creates a loops and it enhance or multiply the electromagnetic noise basically. So it's like multiplying several times, and you hear a very kind of hissing and annoying noises, buzz, hiss, whatever it is. Usually it's a high pitch audio, and is not it's not uh it's very high in terms of decibel. So even if you use some noise gate or something like that, it's still gonna be, you're gonna still hear it from in the main recording audio. So I have tried attaching some ground cables, or that's not help because at the end of the day, it's a ground loop. So the more you connect the grounds, it's actually creating, yeah, the same path of noises. It won't help. So this one doesn't work. That's the worst connections. Except if this secondary PC is using laptop with battery, probably uh, that's eliminate the ground loops it by itself, because there's no power supply connected to your power socket and creating another ground loops to this main PC. So the mandatory connection for this one, I think, I haven't tried it with my laptop, but I think you have to use a laptop with a battery without the adapters. That's the best scenario for these basic connections. If you connect to another desktop using similar power socket, or you can do very far away, but that probably doesn't help. Might reduce it, but let's say you connect this desktop probably to another outlet or power socket far away, so it doesn't create another a bad ground loop. Mm, I haven't tried that. Probably you have to put it somewhere far away. So, but anyway, it is same, probably same area, same room. It won't work because the ground loop is there. So what's the option? So I've been thinking, how could I eliminate this things, right? So the next steps, because I'm using the software from Voice Meter, I found out that there is, we call it VBAN, right? VBAN is a virtual cable through a network. So you can send audio, like streaming audio, to your local network. So it's very convenient. I will show you later on how the VBAN works, but uh, this is a very useful audio. So if you connect to Wi-Fi, let's say in your local networks, you can send an audio to your other PC through your Wi-Fi. Yeah, and you just create channels between each other with certain IP address for each of the equipment, and it will connect itself. So very convenient, very fast. However, if you're using Wi-Fi, I found out that the performance is very poor. Like you have a lot of error. I think depending on your Wi-Fi quality too. If you're using the latest, fastest, I haven't really followed up the N series or something, G series, whatever it is. Using this the latest standard with a lot of bandwidth and high speed connections, I think it might help, right? But I'm using the normal one and it's creating a lot of error, and yeah, it's not very good. So yeah, again, it's for these connections, it works, but a lot of crackling, I think noises, because of error, not because of the. So it solves the ground loops, but the Wi-Fi itself is not reliable. Just to ensure that the quality of transmission of the audio is stable. In my case, probably in your case could be different depending on your Wi-Fi hardware solution, utilization, and of course the room layout. If it's blocked by walls and something that might not help. Okay, so this one is working, but still not okay in my case. Could be okay with your case, but you might want to look into these solutions. I'm going to create another video on how to set up this using voice meter. I'm using voice meter potato and banana. I paid for it. It's a very good software, and I'm very satisfied with this. Now, another one that I'm trying to do is basically connecting audio through Bluetooth. I thought the Bluetooth audio can be a transmitter and Bluetooth receivers. I'm using the one from, you can find it Amazon, AliExpress, or other retailer. And this one is actually, the idea should be great because you can transmit audio through your headphones. Why not you transmit your audio to your PC, right? However, I haven't really figured out on how to do it because this one is a driverless audio transmitter and receiver. So you don't have to install anything. You just plug in the power through USB and then connect the audio port into this 3.5 millimeter socket. And then no one is same thing, 3.5 millimeter socket out and then put into your receiver. However, when I tried it, it won't like connect. Sometimes it connect and it's a very poor audio. I don't know why, but I think it's could be a a hardware issue, and how to connect this Bluetooth transmitter to the receiver. This one is actually can be a receiver, can be a transmitter. So I set up as a receiver. This one is transmitter, the simple one, the dongle one, and then they transmit from headphone output into the other Bluetooth receiver, and then put it to line in. However, this doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. I haven't figured out. If someone have done this before, let me know because this is could be another solutions. But I've heard that the latency in here is not good either. So it doesn't, probably not that good, but it might work. But for me, not working. So this one is, yeah, not really that good either. So unfortunately, good idea, but I haven't really figured out on how to make it work. So the other one, so I thought, hey, Wi-Fi is bad. can we do a LAN connections rather than Wi-Fi? So I grab my long LAN cables and connect the two other PC to a hub. Uh, Fortunately, I have a laying around hub and just using my. This is actually I'm using not this one as I'm using router one. So for my high speed internet connections, but they have a 4 port route hub over there inside in the router itself. So I'm just utilizing the hub and creating a so it connect the one connection into my internet connection, the other one is actually to each other. Why I need to connect to my internet hub or the router, my main router, because I need a DNS, right, a DHCP, so they can have their own IP address assigned properly. So uh, when I connected, turned out that I solved second problem, which is which I haven't found it. Usually, when I connect to Wi-Fi, I'm using my main desktop using Wi-Fi to my router, which is quite far away. I do have some LAN cable, or sorry, another hub actually close by. Um, the bandwidth that I get is actually 50 megabit per second internet connection. When I connect to the LAN, turn out it can be higher, actually to 90 megabit per second. I have 100 megabit per second internet connection. So it solved the problem of high speed. So cable is still the best at this moment compared to my Wi-Fi, except you have probably gigabyte Wi-Fi solutions. Probably I haven't really bought that one. So yeah. Anyway, going back again, so I'm connecting these two through cable, LAN cable, and using the V-band solution also, but this time it's using cable, not Wi-Fi. Turn out the result is very good. There's some small noise sometimes, and not frequently, but it's negligible. I think you can ignore that. You won't hear it in most of the time, and I think this is the best solutions if you have LAN connections with cables. You want to transmit audio from one PC to the other PC and remove the ground loops, because the LAN cables is using what we call it a twisted pair, so it doesn't, yeah, the ground, it doesn't matter because it's using I forgot the terms, but it's a balance voltage kind of transmission, so it eliminate the noise effectively. So this one is the best solutions if you have just LAN connections and with cables and stable high speed. I think you can connect easily and you get a good audio from this one main PC to the second PC. So this solved the problem, and I think yeah, voice meter is working. The V-band solution from VB Audio software, or the voice meter is good. So I can recommend this, and I'll show you how to set up this because I've set up this as a backup, and the main connections, because this still probably use certain, what do you call it, because the VB Audio definitely have to stream it, you know from this PC to the other using voice meter engine, of course. And so I think it's still utilize some CPU power here, right? So if you want to eliminate everything and use hardware only, the solutions that I found best is using the, we call it SPDF, right? SPDF is this laser cables, or like optical cable using laser to transmit audio out. So in some motherboards, even I found it in my old motherboard. So I think it's getting less this day. Unfortunately, it's quite unfortunate why they remove it. I'm using this connection usually from my DVD players and from my home theaters, uh, to send a clean audio video to other systems, right? So, but these days quite rare. I found in some of the newer motherboard, it's gone now, unfortunately. But fortunately, I'm using a gigabyte for 470 for AMD Ryzen's 27000 X series. That gigabyte gaming Wi-Fi has this SPDIF output, right? Um, so I bought a cable. It's a Toslink cable. Toslink is from Toshiba. SPDIF is actually from Sony Philips standard for this connectors. And the Toslink cables, is probably maximum to 5 meters. For good quality one. I bought a 3 meters. I think should be sufficient to connect to each other. And I bought another one actually from it's a digital to analog converters. So because the other computer that I have don't have any toslink. Anyway, the usually in the motherboard the toslink, or sorry, the SPDIF port usually for output only, not for input. So you cannot send the optical cable in as an input, right? So unfortunately in the motherboard. So what you do is basically convert it into an analog, right? To our audio, analog audio. So there's a cheap converters around from Amazon, AliExpress, locally also in my country. So it's very cheap. So this powered by USB 5 volt. You can connect to USB from this computer. Don't connect to this port, this power. Of course, you're gonna create another ground loops, but this power has to be connected to this PC, right? To the uh, target PC or destination PC. So the ground will be only in this dotted line. So we mainly isolated between this one and this one optically. So there's no physical cable or grounds connection except from the power itself, but the audio signal itself don't have or don't carry any grounds, right? So basically, you send it really clean through optical cables. So isolate the ground loops issues. And this solution is fully hardware. So there's no software involved. I just connect this from here and you setting the output from here to this port. So they call it a digital. Usually if there's a driver, it's a Realtek chip. So it will be digital Realtek output. So you connect this into that. Sorry, you set the Windows to send the signal here, or your voice meter output to this hardware signals, and it will come out here as a laser, red usually, and then it will be received by this digital to analog converters and convert into analog, and you put it into line in, or you can put it into microphone, but you have to adjust the impedance as I mentioned. So this one, you because it's RCA, you have to convert into RCA to 3.5 millimeters connectors. But that's very easy to find, or there's a laying around cables that do that. So yeah, so you convert RCA audio stereo into line in, and then you receive it here cleanly. So this is the best solutions if you don't want to use any software applications that might reduce a bit on your CPU power here, and it's fully clean. You won't hear any noises at all carried over from the ground loops or electromagnetic interference. So it's very, very good, clean solutions. And I fully recommend this if you want to have a clean audio. Okay, so that's my sharing, and I think hopefully that's help because I've been searching these solutions everywhere, and not many people talk about it. Uh, why don't I create some video to share my it takes me a week just to find out which solution sets work best. Unfortunately, finally I settled with this main solution here, with the optical cable, and the backup is using the V-band through a LAN network. So if somehow the cable's broken, or sometimes, yeah, optical cable sometimes a bit tricky if you don't align properly or connector is not proper. Sometimes it might have some issues, I've heard, but anyway, I haven't find that issues. You probably just reconnect, reattach cables, and should work, right? Okay, so if you have any questions, you can ask me personally, and I hope this share useful for all of you searching for the same solution. Thank you.